The Secret of the Liberty Medallion, a tale from the American Revolution. Asterisk beneath the golden sun of colonial America, where the Schuylkill River winds gently through the rolling hills and bustling towns, I warmly welcome everyone to a tale filled with courage and mystery. A heartfelt hello to all. I hope you're ready to join me on a journey to a time long past, where the air carries the scent of gunpowder and freshly cut hay, and the distant sound of Liberty bells echoes through the cobblestone streets of Philadelphia. Close your eyes and let the gentle ripple of the river's waters, the soft clanging of a blacksmith's hammer in the forge, and the warm glow of candlelight wrap around you like a comforting embrace. You're standing on the steps of Independence Hall, the brick walls weathered but proud, the city sprawling below in a patchwork of wooden taverns and muddy lanes. But in the whispers of the wind, you hear tales of a young blacksmith, chosen to seek a legendary artifact, a man named Nathaniel Harper, whose journey will forever be etched in the history of a newborn nation. This story will be long, filled with details to paint a vivid picture, but gentle enough to guide you into a peaceful slumber, where dreams of colonial America, sacred relics, and the spirit of freedom will softly cradle you. Let's begin this journey as the stars above Pennsylvania start to twinkle in the twilight sky. Our journey begins in the city of Philadelphia, the heart of the American colonies, in the year 1776, shortly after the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, during the early days of the American Revolution, a time when the 13 colonies are fighting for their freedom from the British Empire. The city of Philadelphia is a bustling hub, its brick and wooden buildings a testament to its growing importance, its streets alive with the hum of activity. The sun hangs high in the sky, casting a golden glow over the city, its heat tempered by a gentle breeze that carries the scent of blooming wildflowers from the fields beyond and the faint tang of the Delaware River, which flows to the east. The Schuylkill River winds through the western edge of the city, its waters glinting like polished silver in the sunlight, small boats bobbing on its surface as fishermen cast their nets, their shouts echoing across the water, blending with the cries of gulls soaring overhead. The streets of Philadelphia are a symphony of sounds, the clatter of horse-drawn carts rumbling over cobblestone streets, their wooden wheels creaking under the weight of barrels and crates. The shouts of vendors hawking their wares, their voices rising in a rhythmic cadence, and the laughter of children playing with wooden hoops and sticks in the open squares, their bare feet kicking up small clouds of dust as they run. In the marketplace, near the State House, later to be known as Independence Hall, merchants gather to trade goods, their voices a cacophony of dialects. English with its clipped colonial accents, German from the Pennsylvania Dutch settlers, and the lilting tones of Irish immigrants who have crossed the Atlantic in search of a new life. The air is thick with the scents of freshly baked bread, its crusty aroma wafting from a nearby bakery, roasted chestnuts sizzling over an open fire, and the faint musk of livestock being traded in the cattle market on the outskirts of town, where the lowing of cows and bleating of sheep add a rustic undertone to the city's bustling energy. That a middle-aged woman named Mary O'Connell, her graying hair tied back with a linen cloth, stands at her stall in the marketplace, her voice rising above the din as she calls out to passers-by, "Come, taste the finest cider from the orchards of Chester County, sweeter than honey, cooler than the river on a summer's day." Her hands move deftly as she pours samples into small wooden cups, her smile warm as she chats with customers, her laughter a bright note in the market's bustle. Mary's apron is stained with the juice of apples, her hands rough from years of pressing cider, but her eyes sparkle with a quiet pride as she shares stories of her family's orchard, passed down through generations since her great-grandfather arrived from Ireland. She hands a cup to a young mother with a toddler clinging to her skirts, saying, "Here, lass, try this. It'll bring a smile to your little one's face." The toddler sips the cider, his eyes lighting up with delight, and the mother thanks Mary with a grateful nod, her own smile mirroring the child's joy. Beside Mary's stall, an elderly man named Ezekiel Brown, with weathered hands and a kind smile, displays wooden carvings of ships and eagles, their delicate beauty a testament to his craftsmanship. His stall is a small haven of artistry amidst the market's chaos. The carvings arranged on a rough-hewn table, each one polished to a warm sheen that catches the sunlight in soft glints. Ezekiel's fingers trace the lines of an eagle's wing. As he chats with a buyer, his voice warm and gravelly. "This one took me a fortnight to carve, sir. The eagle's a symbol of our new nation. You know, freedom soaring above the tyranny of kings." The buyer, a well-dressed gentleman in a tricorn hat, nods thoughtfully, running his fingers over the carving's smooth surface, his eyes crinkling with appreciation as he hands over a few coins, saying, "A fine piece, Master Brown. It'll look grand on my mantel." A group of children, dressed in simple homespun tunics dyed in shades of brown, blue, and faded green, dart through the market, clutching small wooden toys in their hands. Carved horses, spinning tops, and tiny boats whittled from scraps of oak. Their laughter rings out like a melody, a joyful counterpoint to the market's bustle, as they play a game of tag, weaving between the stalls with the agility of young rabbits. One boy, with a mischievous grin and a streak of dirt smeared across his freckled cheek, trips over a basket of apples, sending the fruit rolling across the cobblestones in a cascade of red and green. The children scramble to help the vendor pick them up, their giggles drawing smiles from the adults nearby, who pause in their haggling to watch the scene with fond amusement. The vendor, a stout woman with a kerchief tied around her head, laughs heartily, ruffling the boy's hair as she says, "No harm done, lad. Here, take an apple for your trouble." The boy beams, clutching the apple like a prize, and the children run off to continue their game, their voices fading into the hum of the market. The market itself is a patchwork of color, wool blankets hanging from stalls, their hues of crimson, indigo, and ochre catching the eye. Their rough weave a testament to the skill of the weavers who ply their trade in the countryside. Baskets piled high with goods from across the colonies, from leather boots crafted in Boston to iron tools forged in the foundries of New York, and the vibrant costumes of street performers, their faces painted with white powder and red ochre, playing the fiddle and drum with a lively rhythm that sets toes tapping. A group of militiamen in blue coats, their tricorn hats tilted at jaunty angles, gather near a stall selling pewter tankards, their laughter hearty as they share stories of skirmishes with British troops, their voices a mix of bravado and nervous excitement. The market is a microcosm of the colonies, a melting pot of cultures and dreams, where the hope of independence burns as brightly as the midday sun in the heart of Philadelphia. The State House, soon to be known as Independence Hall, rises. In a modest splendor of red brick and white trim, its simple facade a testament to the ideals of the new nation, its bell ringing out across the city, its deep, resonant tones a call to freedom. The hall is a place of debate and decision, its chambers filled with the voices of the founding fathers. Benjamin Franklin with his sharp wit, Thomas Jefferson with his eloquent prose, and John Adams with his fiery determination, whose words echo through the wooden walls, shaping the future of a nation. Long corridors are lined with flickering candles, their light casting a warm glow on the wooden floor where delegates pace in thought, their voices a soft murmur that blends with the echo of footsteps. Hand-carved wooden benches, polished to a warm sheen, line the assembly room, their surfaces etched with images of eagles and stars, each carving a testament to the hope of the new republic. The room is a crucible of ideas, where the air is thick with the scent of ink and parchment. The scratch of quills a constant rhythm as men like Jefferson draft letters to allies, their words a plea for unity in the face of war. In the assembly room of the State House, the local leader, Colonel William Ashford, often sits at a table of oak and iron, its surface inlaid with brass that catches the light in a subtle gleam, the wood polished to a deep, warm brown that speaks of years of use. He wears a blue coat with brass buttons, its edges embroidered with silver thread in the shape of an eagle, symbolizing his allegiance to the Continental Army, and a tricorn hat of black felt, a protection against the chill of the northern air that seeps through the hall's drafty windows. Ashford is a man of great authority, his sharp eyes softened by a contemplative gaze, always seeking ways to support the revolution while the colonies fight for independence. He is tall, with a strong, weathered face, his short-cropped hair graying at the temples, and a neatly trimmed beard that frames his jaw, giving him a distinguished air. A silver medallion rests on his chest, a symbol of his rank, engraved with the image of a Minuteman standing ready with a musket, a reminder of the militia he commands. In his hand, he holds a musket, its wooden stock polished to a warm sheen, the barrel gleaming with the care of a seasoned soldier, the emblem of his duty to protect the new nation. Beside him, his advisors stand in a line, their woolen coats dyed in shades of blue and crimson, their tricorn hats tilted at respectful angles, their eyes lowered in respect, their voices a soft murmur as they discuss matters of the war. Supply lines stretched thin, British troops amassing in New York, and the ever-present threat of loyalist spies within the city. Among the advisors, one man stands out: Nathaniel Harper, a young blacksmith from Philadelphia, known for his skill with the forge and his unwavering loyalty to the cause of liberty. Nathaniel is not a tall or imposing man, but his presence commands attention, his eyes shining with a quiet determination that belies his youth. His voice, though gentle, carries a strange power of conviction, as if the spirit of the revolution speaks through him, a voice that resonates with the hope of a new nation. He often wears a simple linen shirt dyed in a deep shade of indigo, its edges embroidered with white thread in the shape of a star, a nod to the new nation's flag, and a leather apron, the color of rich earth, draped over his shoulders, its surface stained with soot and iron from countless hours at the forge. On his belt, he carries a hammer, its handle worn smooth by years of use, the head polished to a dull sheen, a gift from his father, a symbol of his craft as a blacksmith. His dark brown hair is tied back with a leather cord, a few strands escaping, to frame his face, which is often smudged with soot, giving him a rugged, earnest appearance. On his finger, he wears a small iron ring engraved with the image of a Liberty Bell, a token of his connection to the cause, a gift from his childhood friend who now serves as a courier for the Continental Army. The people of Philadelphia whisper about him, calling him the Smith of Liberty, for he is not only a craftsman but also a dreamer, a man who feels the spirit of the new nation in his bones, bridging the gap between the mortal world and the ideals of freedom that drive the revolution. Each morning, Nathaniel rises before dawn, the sky still cloaked in the deep indigo of night, the stars above twinkling like tiny flames in the heavens. He steps out of his modest home on the outskirts of Philadelphia, a small wooden cottage nestled in a grove of maple trees, where he lives simply with his widowed mother, a woman named Margaret, and his younger sister, a girl named Abigail. Their home is humble but warm, its walls made of oak planks, weathered by years of wind and rain, the air inside filled with the comforting scent of drying herbs hanging from the rafters, lavender, chamomile, and rosemary, their earthy aroma mingling with the faint smokiness of the hearth. The cottage is simple, its floors covered with woven rugs in shades of red and blue, their patterns faded but still vibrant, a testament to Margaret's skill with the loom. The walls are adorned with small carvings made by Nathaniel himself, scenes of eagles soaring over mountains, stars shining above a moonlit river, and ships sailing on a stormy sea. Each piece a prayer to the new nation, a reflection of his hopes and dreams for the future. A small garden at the back of the cottage blooms with lavender and chamomile, their delicate purple and white flowers swaying in the morning breeze, their fragrance filling the air with a soothing sweetness. A tiny stream trickles nearby, its water clear and cool, reflecting the first light of dawn in shimmering patterns, its gentle melody a constant companion that soothes the soul. A narrow path leads from the cottage to the city, winding through fields of golden wheat that stretch out toward the horizon, their stalks swaying in the wind like waves on a golden sea, where the sounds of Philadelphia, the clang of the blacksmith's hammer, the laughter of children, and the tolling of the Liberty Bell drift on the breeze, a reminder of the world beyond the grove. Margaret is a woman with a kind face, her warm hazel eyes crinkling at the corners when she smiles, and her graying hair tied back with a linen cloth, a few strands escaping to frame her face, which is lined with the gentle marks of a life well lived. She rises early each morning to tend to the household, her hands skilled at weaving linen into fine cloth, which she sells to the merchants in Philadelphia to support her family. Her fingers move with a rhythm born of years of practice, the loom, humming softly as she works, its wooden frame creaking faintly under the tension of the threads. She weaves with a quiet intensity, her hands deftly guiding the shuttle back and forth, creating patterns of stars and stripes that echo the new flag of the colonies, each piece a silent prayer for the success of the revolution. Her voice is a gentle melody as she hums old colonial songs, tales of settlers crossing the Atlantic, of pioneers carving out a life in the wilderness, songs her mother taught her, passed down through generations like a cherished heirloom. She often pauses to watch Nathaniel as he works in the forge behind the cottage, her eyes filled with pride, and says, "My son, the land has blessed you with strength and skill. Your hammer will forge more than iron. It will forge the future of this nation." Nathaniel smiles, kissing her hand, his own hands rough with calluses but gentle in their touch, and replies, "Thank you, Mother. I only hope to honor the cause and our family with my work. Your prayers keep me strong." Abigail, the 13-year-old girl, has her mother's face, with large, curious eyes that sparkle with mischief and a radiant smile that lights up the world around her, her freckles scattered across her cheeks like stars in a night sky. Her long auburn hair is often tied with a small ribbon dyed with indigo, a gift from a peddler who passed through the city last spring, and she wears a simple homespun dress in a soft shade of blue, the hem embroidered with tiny stars by her mother's careful hands, each stitch a labor of love. She loves to sit by Nathaniel, watching him forge iron in the heat of the fire, her fingers tracing the air as she imagines wielding a hammer herself. Though she knows such a path is not for her, her dreams are filled with adventure, inspired by the tales of patriots and explorers her brother shares. Abigail often sings as Nathaniel works. Her voice is clear as a meadowlark's, echoing through the grove of maples and drawing smiles from anyone who hears her. Her song's a blend of joy and hope that lifts the spirits of all who listen. One of her favorite songs is a ballad of the Revolution, a melody her mother taught her. Its words a prayer for liberty and courage, a song she heard sung by militiamen in the marketplace. Its verses a rallying cry for the cause. "Oh, we'll fight for freedom, 'neath the starry sky, with hearts so bold, we'll never say die." As she sings, the stream nearby seems to join in, its trickling harmonizing with her voice, a gentle duet that speaks of the land's enduring spirit. Nathaniel steps out of the cottage as the first rays of sunlight touch the grove, making the leaves glisten like emeralds with morning dew, their edges tinged with the golden light of dawn. He walks through the fields, his gaze fixed on the horizon, where the sun rises over the Pennsylvania countryside, painting the sky in vibrant shades of gold, orange, and pink, the colors bleeding into one another like a celestial watercolor, a canvas of hope for the new day. He pauses by the small stream that runs through the grove, its water cool and clear, reflecting the sunlight in shimmering patterns that dance like tiny flames on the surface. He kneels beside the stream, splashing his face with the cold water, feeling the freshness against his skin, the sensation waking him fully as he prepares for the day's work. The scent of chamomile from the garden fills his lungs, a soothing aroma that calms his mind, and he takes a moment to breathe deeply, savoring the quiet beauty of the morning, the world still cloaked in the gentle stillness of dawn. He whispers a short prayer to the Christian God, his voice soft but reverent, his words carried on the breeze. "O Lord, protector of the righteous, thank you for this new day. Guide my steps as I seek to serve my country and its people. Grant me the strength to forge a future for this land and the wisdom to honor the cause of liberty." Then he stands, brushing the dirt from his knees, and continues walking, his leather boots crunching softly on the gravel path. The city of Philadelphia coming into view ahead, its brick buildings a steadfast guardian against the turmoil of war, their red and brown facades softened by the morning light. The morning air is crisp, carrying the scent of damp earth and the faint tang of wood smoke from cooking fires in the city, where the first plumes of smoke rise from chimneys, curling into the sky like wisps of gray silk. Nathaniel makes his way to his forge near the marketplace, a sturdy stone building with a slanted roof of wooden shingles, its chimney belching smoke as the fire within roars to life. The forge is his sanctuary, a place where he can channel his passion for the cause into tangible work, crafting horseshoes, musket barrels, and bayonets for the Continental Army, each piece a contribution to the fight for freedom. He lights the fire with a flint, striking the steel with a practiced hand, sparks flying like tiny stars before the kindling catches, the flames roaring to life, casting a warm glow on the stone walls where the tools of his trade, hammers, tongs, and anvils, rest in orderly rows, their surfaces worn but gleaming with the care of a devoted craftsman. The forge is alive around him, the sounds of the city a backdrop to his work, the tolling of the Liberty Bell from the State House, its deep, resonant tones a reminder of the new nation's birth. The soft murmur of patriots gathering in the streets, their voices a mix of hope and determination as they discuss the latest news from the front, and the distant clash of swords and muskets as militiamen train in a nearby field, their shouts a rallying cry for liberty. Nathaniel works the bellows, the fire growing hotter, its heat washing over him in waves, sweat beading on his brow as he places a piece of iron into the flames, watching as it glows red-hot, the metal softening under the intense heat. He removes the iron with a pair of tongs, its surface shimmering with heat, and begins to shape it on the anvil, his hammer striking with a rhythmic clang, each blow a prayer for the success of the revolution, the sound echoing through the forge. Like a heartbeat, steady and strong as he works, Nathaniel's thoughts often drift to the cause, to the men he knows who have joined the Continental Army, friends from childhood, neighbors who once shared a pint of ale at the tavern, now fighting in distant fields, their lives hanging in the balance with each battle. He thinks of his father, who died 2 years ago in a skirmish with British troops near Boston, a blacksmith like himself, who taught him the craft and the value of hard work, whose last words to him were a plea to fight for the dream of a free nation. Forge strong, my boy, for the chains of tyranny are heavy, but the fire of liberty burns brighter. Nathaniel's hammer strikes harder at the memory, the iron bending under his will, taking the shape of a musket barrel, a weapon that might one day defend the very ideals his father died for. He wipes the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand, smudging more soot across his face, and smiles grimly, his heart swelling with a fierce determination to honor his father's legacy, to see the colonies free from British rule. Nathaniel's forge is a gathering place for the community, a hub where patriots come to share news and supplies, their voices a mix of hope and fear as they discuss the war. One morning, as he hammers a horseshoe into shape, a group of militiamen stops by, their blue coats dusty from the road, their faces lined with exhaustion but their eyes bright with resolve. Their leader, a wiry man named Captain Samuel Reed, greets Nathaniel with a firm handshake, his grip strong despite the weariness in his frame. "Nathaniel, my friend," Samuel says, his voice rough but warm. "We've come from Trenton. Word is the Redcoats are massing in New York, and General Washington needs every musket we can muster. Can you spare a few barrels by week's end?" Nathaniel nods, wiping his hands on his apron, the soot smearing further across his fingers. "I'll have them ready, Captain," he replies, his voice steady. "And I'll throw in some bayonets as well. My father always said a good blade can turn the tide of a fight." Samuel claps him on the shoulder, a rare smile breaking through his stern demeanor, and says, "You're a good man, Harper. The cause owes you more than we can repay." The militiamen leave with a promise to return, their footsteps fading into the hum of the city, and Nathaniel returns to his work, his hammer striking with renewed purpose, each blow a silent vow to support the fight for freedom. Nathaniel's days are long, filled with the rhythm of the forge, but they are not without moments of joy. In the evenings, after the fire has died down and the forge grows quiet, he often joins his mother and sister for supper in the cottage, the small wooden table set with simple fare, bread baked fresh that morning, a stew of rabbit and root vegetables, seasoned with herbs from the garden, and a small jug of cider bought from the market. The meal is a time of connection, a brief respite from the worries of war, and the family shares stories and laughter, their voices a soft melody that fills the cottage with warmth. Margaret tells tales of her childhood in the colonies, of the first time she saw the ocean after her family arrived from England, her eyes sparkling with the memory of the waves crashing against the shore, their salt spray a taste of freedom. Abigail, her auburn hair glowing in the candlelight, recounts the antics of the children in the market, her laughter bright as she describes how she outran a boy in a game of tag, her small hands gesturing animatedly as she mimics her victory dance. Nathaniel listens with a smile, his heart swelling with love for his family, and shares his own stories of the forge, of the militiamen who came by, of the musket barrels he's forging, and of the hope he feels each time he hears the Liberty bell toll. It sounds a reminder of the dream they all share. But the peace of these evenings is often overshadowed by the realities of war. One night, as the family sits by the hearth, the fire casting a warm glow on their faces, a knock at the door startles them from their conversation. Nathaniel rises, his hand resting on the hammer at his belt, a precaution born of the times, and opens the door to find Thomas Carter, a young courier for the Continental Army, his face pale and streaked with mud, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Thomas is a childhood friend of Nathaniel's, a wiry lad with sandy hair and a quick smile. But tonight his expression is grim, his eyes wide with urgency. "Nathaniel," he says, his voice trembling, "there's been a skirmish near Brandywine. British troops ambushed a patrol, and we lost 10 men. General Washington's calling for more supplies. But there's worse news. Spies say the Redcoats know about a secret weapon, something called the Liberty Medallion. They're searching for it, and if they find it first, it could mean the end of the cause." Nathaniel's heart sinks at the news, his thoughts racing as he invites Thomas inside, offering him a seat by the fire and a cup of cider to warm him. Margaret and Abigail listen in silence, their faces pale with worry, as Thomas explains what he knows, that the Liberty Medallion is a relic forged by Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson in the early days of the Revolution, a bronze medallion, engraved with the image of an eagle and 13 stars, imbued with the spirit of the founders through a ritual involving Lenape magic. It is said to hold the power to unite the colonies, to inspire courage in the face of despair, and to protect the new nation from collapse. But its location has been lost, hidden somewhere in the colonies to keep it safe from British hands, and now the enemy is closing in, their spies scouring the land for any clue to its whereabouts. Thomas looks at Nathaniel, his eyes pleading. "You're the best man I know, Nathaniel, strong, loyal, and wise beyond your years. General Washington trusts you, and so do I. We need you to find the medallion before the British do. Will you take up this quest?" Nathaniel feels the weight of the request settle on his shoulders, his mind racing with the implications, but his heart knows there is only one answer. He nods, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "I'll do it, Thomas. I'll find the Liberty Medallion and protect this nation, or die in the attempt." Thomas claps him on the shoulder, a rare smile breaking through his grim demeanor, and says, "I knew you'd say that. Meet us at the tavern near Independence Hall tomorrow night. There's someone you need to speak with, someone who knows where the medallion might be." The next evening, as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Nathaniel makes his way to the tavern, a modest wooden building with a sign depicting a green dragon swinging above the door. The air inside is warm and heavy with the scent of ale, roasted meat, and the faint tang of tobacco smoke. The tavern a haven for patriots plotting the next move in the war for independence. Nathaniel enters the dimly lit room, his leather apron replaced by a simple cloak of brown wool, its edges frayed from use, drawing curious glances from the gathered men, militiamen in blue coats, merchants in tricorn hats, and a few farmers in homespun tunics, their faces lined with the weariness of war, but their eyes bright with hope. Inside, the room is lit by flickering candles, their light casting a warm glow on the wooden walls, where a group of cloaked figures awaits him, their faces hidden in shadow. At the center of the group stands Waya, an elderly Lenape shaman, one of the last of his tribe in a land now dominated by European settlers. Waya is a small, frail man, his frame bent with age, but his presence is commanding, his piercing black eyes seeming to see into the soul, their depths reflecting the wisdom of countless generations. His silver hair is tied back with a leather cord, and he wears a simple tunic of deerskin, its surface embroidered with beads in shades of blue and red, a tribute to the ancient spirits he serves, the beads catching the candlelight in soft glints that shimmer like stars. In his hand, he holds a staff carved from cedar, its surface etched with symbols of the Lenape, turtles, wolves, and stars, each carving a testament to the tribe's connection to the land. His voice is a soft whisper, carrying the weight of centuries, a sound that seems to echo from the very earth itself. Nathaniel Harper, blacksmith of Philadelphia, the spirits speak to me in dreams. A great darkness is coming. The British forces grow stronger, and the new nation teeters on the edge of collapse. Only the Liberty Medallion, forged by Franklin and Jefferson, can save this land. You must find it before the first frost, or darkness, will envelop this nation forever. Waya's words are both a command and a warning, and as he speaks, the candles in the room flicker as if stirred by an unseen wind, their light casting shadows that dance on the walls like spirits of the past. Their movements a silent testament to the power of his vision. He points to the south, where the forests of Virginia lie, its rivers said to hide the resting place of the medallion, his hand trembling slightly with the weight of his years, but steady in its purpose. The medallion lies hidden in the Shenandoah Valley, deep in the southern forests, guarded by the spirits of the founders. But beware, for only those with a pure heart can wield its power. If your heart is not true, the spirits will claim your soul. Nathaniel kneels before Waya, his heart pounding with the weight of the shaman's words, the gravity of the task, settling into his bones like a heavy cloak, but his voice is steady, resonant with conviction, a fire burning in his chest that mirrors the passion of the revolution. I will undertake this quest, shaman. I will find the Liberty Medallion and protect this nation or die in the attempt. Waya nods, his black eyes softening with a glimmer of hope, a rare warmth breaking through his stoic demeanor, and places a hand on Nathaniel's shoulder, his touch cold but comforting, a connection to the ancient spirits that guide them both. The spirits are with you, Nathaniel. Go with the blessing of the Lenape, and may the founders judge you worthy. Nathaniel rises, his resolve hardened, the weight of his mission a tangible force that drives him forward. He leaves the tavern, the cool night air brushing against his face, the stars above twinkling like beacons of hope in the indigo sky. He returns home briefly to prepare for the journey, gathering his hammer, a small pouch of dried meat and hardtack for sustenance, and an iron amulet his mother gave him, carved with the image of a star, a talisman for protection that he wears around his neck on a leather cord, its weight a comforting reminder of home. Margaret, seeing the resolve in her son's eyes, embraces him tightly, her hands trembling as she adjusts his cloak, her voice thick with emotion. My son, the nation has chosen you for a great purpose. Be careful, and may the Lord and the spirits watch over you. Abigail, standing beside her mother, clings to Nathaniel's leg, her eyes wide with worry, her small hands gripping his cloak as if she can keep him there through sheer will. Brother, will you come back soon? I'll pray to the stars every night to keep you safe. Nathaniel kneels, ruffling her hair, his heart aching at the fear in her eyes, and smiles, his voice gentle but firm. I'll be back before you know it, little star. Pray for me, and I'll feel your love even in the farthest reaches of the colonies. He kisses her forehead, the warmth of her small frame a brief comfort against the uncertainty ahead, then stands, taking one last look at his home, the garden. Bathed in the moonlight, the maple trees standing like silent sentinels, before heading out to assemble his group. Nathaniel gathers a small team to aid him on his journey, choosing 2 companions he trusts with his life, men and women whose skills complement his own and whose loyalty to the cause is as unyielding as his own. The first is Eliza, a skilled scout and sharpshooter, known for her sharp eyes and quick reflexes, a woman who has spied for the Continental Army since the war began, her courage a legend among the patriots of Philadelphia. Eliza is tall and lean, her frame wiry but strong, with sun-bronzed skin that speaks of countless hours under the open sky and a scar across her cheek, a jagged line from a skirmish with British soldiers during a reconnaissance mission near Trenton. Her presence is commanding, her movements precise, and her hazel eyes burn with a fierce intensity, their color a mix of green and gold that shifts with the light, reflecting the fire of her spirit. She wears a leather tunic dyed with walnut husk, its rich brown hue blending with the forest shadows, a short cloak of green wool draped over her shoulders, the fabric faded but sturdy, and in her hand, she holds a musket, its barrel polished to a warm sheen, the stock engraved with her initials, a gift from her father, a gunsmith who taught her to shoot before he fell at the Battle of Bunker Hill. Despite her stern demeanor, Eliza has a deep loyalty to the cause, her heart as fierce as her aim, and she agrees to join the journey out of devotion to Nathaniel, whom she has known since they were children playing in the fields near the Schuylkill, their bond forged through shared dreams of a free nation. "I'll scout the way, Nathaniel," she says, her voice firm but warm, a hint of a smile softening her usually hard expression. "No redcoat will catch us unawares." The second companion is Brother Amos, a wise Quaker preacher from the outskirts of Philadelphia, known for his knowledge of ancient lore and his ability to commune with the spirits through prayer, a man whose faith bridges the Christian beliefs of the settlers and the ancient wisdom of the Lenape. Amos is a short, stout man, his frame stocky but his presence calming, with gentle blue eyes that seem to see into the soul, their color as soft as the morning sky, and a bald head that gleams in the sunlight, a testament to his years of service. He wears a simple gray coat, its surface unadorned in keeping with Quaker tradition, the fabric worn but clean, and carries a wooden staff topped with a carved image of a dove, the emblem of peace, its surface polished to a warm sheen by the touch of his hands. His hands are steady, his voice soft, and his smile is a balm to those in distress. But his eyes hold a quiet strength, a determination born of years of serving the divine, a man who has seen the horrors of war but holds fast to his belief in the power of peace. Amos agrees to join the journey because he believes the Liberty Medallion is a sacred relic that must be protected, a symbol of the unity the colonies so desperately need. His voice gentle but resolute. "The spirits have spoken, Nathaniel, and I will stand by you. My prayers will guide us, and the Lord will light our path." Before they set out, Nathaniel visits the local tavern, the Green Dragon, a gathering place for patriots where he often meets with friends to share news and plans. The tavern is a sturdy wooden building, its walls weathered by years of rain and wind, a sign depicting a green dragon swinging above the door, creaking softly in the breeze. Inside, the air is warm and heavy with the scent of ale, roasted meat, and the faint tang of tobacco smoke. The room filled with the low hum of conversation, the clinking of tankards, and the occasional burst of laughter. Nathaniel finds his friend Thomas Carter, the courier who first told him of the medallion, sitting at a corner table, his sandy hair disheveled, his face still streaked with the mud of the road. Thomas greets him with a weary smile, raising his tankard in a toast. "To liberty, my friend, and to the medallion that'll save us all." Nathaniel joins him, the two men sharing a quiet moment amidst the tavern's bustle, their conversation. A mix of hope and strategy as they discuss the journey ahead. Thomas shares what little he knows of the medallion's history, that it was forged in secret during a meeting of the Continental Congress, a bronze disc engraved with an eagle and 13 stars, blessed by a Lenape shaman in a ritual that bound the spirits of the founders to its metal, a relic meant to unite the colonies in their darkest hour. He warns Nathaniel of the dangers. British spies are everywhere, and loyalist militias roam the countryside, eager to claim the medallion for their own gain. "Be careful, Nathaniel," Thomas says, his voice low, his eyes shadowed with worry. "The redcoats want that medallion as much as we do, and they'll stop at nothing to get it." The three leave Philadelphia at dawn the next day, the city still cloaked in the morning mist, the air cool and heavy with the scent of dew, the cobblestone streets slick with moisture. They travel south along the ancient trails used by the Lenape. For centuries, winding through rolling hills and dense forests, their surfaces worn smooth by generations of travelers, the paths marked by ancient oaks and maples, their branches forming a canopy that filters the sunlight into dappled patterns. On the ground, the trail is lined with wildflowers, goldenrod and asters in shades of yellow and purple, their petals swaying in the breeze, and the air is filled with the scent of pine, the faint tang of the schuylkill fading as they move further south, replaced by the earthy aroma of the forest floor, rich with the scent of moss and fallen leaves. They walk at a steady pace, their boots crunching softly on the gravel, the city fading into the distance behind them, its brick buildings a distant memory as the wilderness stretches out before them, a vast expanse of green and gold that speaks of the land's enduring spirit. The journey is not easy, and they face numerous challenges from the world around them, each trial testing their resolve and their bond as a group. On the fourth day, a sudden storm brews over the countryside, the sky darkening as if the spirits have unleashed their wrath, the wind howling like a chorus of angry ghosts, its gusts tearing leaves from the trees and sending them swirling through the air like a flock of startled birds. Rain comes down in torrents, a relentless deluge that turns the trail into a muddy river, the water rushing around their ankles, cold and swift, carrying dirt and small stones in its current. Lightning flashes, illuminating the landscape in stark whites and grays, the jagged bolts splitting the sky with a crack that echoes through the hills, followed by thunder that shakes the earth, a deep, booming roar that seems to reverberate in their very bones. The group seeks shelter beneath a massive oak tree, its broad canopy offering some protection from the deluge, the rain drumming on the leaves like 1,000 tiny drums, a steady rhythm that drowns out all other sound. Nathaniel stands under the tree, watching the rain fall, feeling the coolness of the droplets on his face as they drip from the leaves above, the scent of wet earth filling his lungs, grounding him in the moment. He says to the group, his voice steady despite the storm, his words carried on the wind, "The Lord and the spirits are testing us, but we must press on. The medallion awaits us, and with it, the hope of our nation." Eliza, her sharp eyes scanning the horizon for signs of danger, nods, her musket at the ready, its barrel wrapped in oilcloth to protect it from the rain, her voice firm. "I, Nathaniel, will not falter now." Amos pulls a small wooden cross from his pouch, clutching it tightly as he whispers a prayer for safe passage, his voice a soft murmur that blends with the sound of the rain, a quiet plea for protection. "O Lord, shield us from the tempest and guide us through the storm." The storm eventually passes, leaving the trail muddy and treacherous, the ground slick with water and fallen leaves, but the group presses on, their determination unshaken. On the sixth day, they encounter a more immediate danger, a pack of wolves, their eyes glowing like twin flames in the darkness as they emerge from the forest, their low growls sending a shiver down their spines, the sound a primal warning that echoes through the trees. The wolves pace slowly, their gray coats blending with the shadows of the underbrush, their movements silent and predatory, their teeth bared in a silent threat. Eliza, ever the scout, grabs her musket, standing between the group and the beasts. Her muscles tense, ready to fire, her hazel eyes narrowing as she calculates her shot, her breath steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The wolves circle closer, their growls growing louder, their eyes locked on the group, hunger and instinct driving them forward. Nathaniel, sensing the animal's ancient nature, wolves are revered by the Lenape as messengers of the spirits. Their presence a sign of the land's wild heart, whispers a prayer to the Christian God, asking for safe passage, his voice low and reverent, a plea for mercy. "O Lord, protector of travelers, guide these creatures away from us, and let us pass in peace." At the same time, he invokes the name of the Great Spirit, hoping the old magic of the Lenape will protect them, his words a bridge between the faiths that coexist in this new world. Great Spirit, guardian of the wild, let your messengers spare us, for we seek to honor the land and its people." Amos, his hands steady despite the danger, pulls a small vial of holy water from his pouch, sprinkling it into the fire they've built for the night, the flames hissing as the water hits them, the smoke rising in a thick plume, its scent sharp and pungent, a mix of sage and cedar that fills the air with a cleansing aroma. The wolves pause, their noses twitching as they catch the scent, and slowly, as if guided by an unseen force, they retreat into the forest, their growls fading into the night, their eyes disappearing into the shadows like extinguished flames. The group breathes a collective sigh of relief, their hearts still pounding from the encounter, the adrenaline slowly ebbing as the danger passes. Eliza lowers her musket, her shoulders relaxing, though her eyes remain vigilant, scanning the darkness for any sign of the wolves' return, her voice a mix of relief and respect. "Well done, Amos. That holy water of yours might just be our best weapon yet." Amos smiles, his blue eyes crinkling with warmth, and replies, his voice soft but firm. "The Lord works in mysterious ways, Eliza, and the spirits of this land lend their strength to those who honor them." Nathaniel claps them both on the shoulder, his smile weary but genuine, his voice steady. "We're a good team, the three of us. Let's keep moving. The medallion won't wait for us." The countryside is full of other dangers, each one a test of their resolve and their bond as a group. On the 8th day, they encounter a group of British scouts hiding in the woods, their red coats a stark contrast to the green and brown of the forest, their muskets gleaming with menace in the dappled sunlight. The scouts, numbering 5, are led by a young lieutenant, his face pale and drawn, his eyes cold with the arrogance of empire, his voice clipped as he orders the group to surrender. "Halt, rebels. Drop your weapons, or we'll shoot you where you stand." Eliza, her instincts honed by years of scouting, spots them before they can fully ambush the group, her sharp eyes catching the glint of a bayonet through the trees. She raises her musket, her voice a low whisper to Nathaniel and Amos. "Get down." She fires a single shot, the crack of the musket echoing through the forest, the bullet striking the lieutenant in the shoulder, sending him reeling back with a cry of pain. The remaining scouts return fire, the sound of muskets a sharp, staccato rhythm that shatters the forest's quiet, the smell of gunpowder filling the air, acrid and sharp. Nathaniel draws his own musket, a flintlock he keeps slung over his shoulder, and fires at one of the scouts, the shot grazing the man's arm, sending him scrambling for cover behind a tree. Amos, though not a fighter, uses his staff to defend himself, swinging it with surprising force at a scout who gets too close, the wooden shaft striking the man's knee with a dull thud, sending him to the ground with a grunt of pain. Eliza reloads her musket with practiced speed, her hands steady despite the chaos, and fires again, her shot finding its mark in another scout's leg, the man collapsing with a scream, clutching his wound as blood seeps through his fingers. The remaining 2 scouts, seeing their companions fall, turn and flee into the forest, their red coats disappearing into the underbrush, their panicked footsteps fading into the distance. Nathaniel lowers his musket, his chest heaving as he catches his breath, the adrenaline still coursing through him, his eyes scanning the trees for any sign of further danger. Eliza reloads her musket, her hands steady, her voice calm but firm. "We should move. They might come back with reinforcements." Amos nods, his face pale but resolute, his voice a soft prayer. "Lord, guide us through this trial, and let us walk in peace." The group gathers their belongings, moving quickly to put distance between themselves and the sight of the skirmish, their hearts pounding but their resolve unshaken, the encounter a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk in the wilderness. The journey continues, the group facing other challenges as they press southward, bears charging through the underbrush, their roars echoing through the forest, their claws sharp and deadly, forcing the group to climb trees for safety, their breaths held as the beasts prowled below. Rivers swollen by recent rains, their currents swift and treacherous, forcing them to build a makeshift raft from fallen logs, their hands raw from the effort, as they lashed the logs together with strips of leather and dense thickets where thorns tear at their clothes and skin, leaving scratches that sting with every step. Their progress slowed as they hacked through the undergrowth with Nathaniel's hammer and Eliza's dagger. Amos proves invaluable, using his knowledge of ancient lore to decipher old Lenape maps carved into the bark of trees, guiding them through the labyrinth of trails, while Eliza's sharp eyes and quick reflexes keep them safe from ambushes, her musket shots finding their mark with deadly precision. Nathaniel's courage and wisdom guide them, his understanding of the land helping them navigate by the stars, his faith in the cause of liberty a beacon in the darkness, a light that burns brighter with each step they take. After many days of travel, weeks that stretch into a month, each day a test of their endurance, the group finally reaches the Shenandoah Valley, a lush expanse deep in the southern forests of Virginia, its rivers shimmering in the sunlight, their waters a deep, clear blue that reflects the sky above. The valley is a place of breathtaking beauty, its rolling hills covered in a carpet of green, dotted with wildflowers in shades of yellow, purple, and white, their petals swaying in the breeze like a sea of color. The air is thick with the scent of pine and wildflowers, the faint tang of the Shenandoah River adding a crisp freshness to the atmosphere, its gentle lapping a soothing backdrop to the forest symphony, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the occasional call of a hawk soaring overhead, its wings spread wide against the sky. The valley is a place of legend, said to be a sacred ground of the Lenape, its rivers believed to be the resting place of the Liberty Medallion, a sanctuary where the spirits of the founders are said to linger, their presence a silent guardian. Over the land, the group moves cautiously through the forest, their boots sinking into the soft earth, the ground spongy with moss and fallen leaves, the air cool and damp beneath the canopy of ancient oaks and maples, their branches forming a cathedral of green that filters the sunlight into dappled patterns on the forest floor. The forest is alive with the sounds of nature, squirrels chattering in the treetops, their tiny claws scratching against the bark, a deer darting through the underbrush, its hooves a soft thud against the earth, and the distant howl of a wolf, a haunting note that echoes through the trees, a reminder of the wildness that still rules this land. The group's breath is visible in the cool air, their exhalations forming small clouds that drift upward, mingling with the mist that clings to the ground, a silvery veil that softens the edges of the world around them. In a clearing near the Shenandoah River, they find a hidden stone circle, its ancient stones arranged in a perfect ring, each one as tall as a man. Their surfaces carved with Lenape symbols, turtles, wolves, and stars, their meanings lost to time, but their power still palpable, glowing faintly with an otherworldly light that seems to pulse with the heartbeat of the land. The stones are weathered by centuries of wind and rain, their surfaces rough with lichen, but the carvings are still sharp, as if etched by a hand that defies the passage of time. The clearing is a sacred space, the air thick with the scent of pine and the faint tang of the river, the sound of the water's gentle lapping a soothing backdrop to the forest symphony, a place where the veil between the mortal world and the spirit realm feels thin, as if the ancestors themselves are watching. At the center of the stone circle stands Tala, a mysterious Lenape elder, clad in a cloak of wolf fur, its gray and white strands shimmering in the sunlight, her face painted with red ochre and patterns that mimic the stars, her presence both ancient and ethereal, a bridge between the living and the spirits. Tala is a descendant of the Lenape shamans, a guardian of the valley's secrets, her brown eyes glowing like embers in the firelight, their depths reflecting the wisdom of countless generations, her gaze piercing but kind, a testament to her role as a keeper of the old ways. Her voice is a soft whisper that seems to echo from the stones themselves, a sound that carries the weight of the earth. Nathaniel Harper, blacksmith of Philadelphia. The spirits speak to me in visions. A great darkness threatens this new nation. The British forces grow stronger, and the colonies teeter on the edge of collapse. Only the Liberty Medallion, forged by Franklin and Jefferson, can save this land. You must claim it before the first frost. or darkness will envelop this nation forever." Tala's words are both a command and a warning, and as she speaks, the mist around the stone circle thickens, swirling like a living thing, the symbols on the stones glowing brighter, their light pulsing with an ancient energy as if stirred by an unseen magic. She points to a hidden passage beneath one of the stones, a narrow opening that leads deep underground, the air within cold and heavy with the scent of damp earth, and says, "The medallion lies hidden in the cavern of the founders, beneath the river, guarded by the spirits of the founders. But beware, for only those with a pure heart can wield its power. If your heart is not true, the spirits will claim your soul." Nathaniel kneels before Tala, his heart pounding with the weight of her words, the gravity of the task settling into his bones like a heavy cloak, but his voice is steady, resonant with conviction, a fire burning in his chest that mirrors the passion of the revolution. "I will undertake this quest, Elder. I will find the Liberty Medallion and protect this nation, or die in the attempt." Tala nods, her brown eyes softening with a glimmer of hope, a rare warmth breaking through her stoic demeanor, and places a hand on his shoulder, her touch cold but comforting, a connection to the ancient spirits that guide them both. "The spirits are with you, Nathaniel. Go with the blessing of the Lenape, and may the founders judge you worthy." The group descends into the passage, stepping carefully on the slick stone steps, their boots slipping slightly on the moss-covered surfaces, the air growing colder and heavier with the scent of damp earth and ancient magic, a musty aroma that speaks of centuries undisturbed. The cavern below is a vast, echoing chamber, its walls carved with images of the founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin holding a kite, its string taut as lightning strikes, Thomas Jefferson writing the Declaration of Independence, his quill poised over parchment, and George Washington standing tall with a sword, his gaze fixed on a distant horizon, their stern faces illuminated by the faint glow of bioluminescent moss clinging to the stone, its greenish light casting a soft, ethereal sheen on the carvings, making them seem almost alive, as if the founders themselves are watching from beyond the grave. At the center of the cavern is a still, dark pool, its surface like a mirror, reflecting the faint light of the moss in shimmering patterns, the water's depths a mystery that whispers of ancient power, the air thick with the presence of the spirits of the founders, their energy a palpable force that presses against the group like a gentle hand. But before they can approach the pool, a group emerges from the shadows, British spies loyal to King George III, led by a man named Captain Reginald Thorpe, a ruthless officer who seeks the medallion to destroy the American cause and ensure British victory. Thorpe is a tall, imposing man, his face lined with arrogance, his cold gray eyes glinting with malice, their color like the steel of a blade, sharp and unyielding. He wears a red coat uniform, its surface stained with dirt from days of travel, the brass buttons tarnished but still gleaming faintly in the moss's glow, and carries a flintlock pistol, its barrel polished to a deadly sheen, the weapon a testament to his authority and his willingness to use it. He steps forward, his voice a low growl, each word dripping with disdain. "Nathaniel Harper, blacksmith of Philadelphia, I've tracked you all the way from the city. Give me the Liberty Medallion, or none of you will leave this cavern alive." Nathaniel stands firm, his eyes meeting Thorpe's, his voice steady despite the fear that coils in his gut, a fire of determination burning in his chest. "Thorpe, the medallion belongs to the new nation, not to you or your king. I will not let you take it." Eliza steps forward, her musket raised, her finger resting lightly on the trigger, ready to fire, her hazel eyes narrowing as she calculates her shot, her voice a low warning. "One wrong move, Redcoat, and you'll meet your maker." Amos grips his staff, his gentle blue eyes filled with determination, his voice a soft prayer that cuts through the tension. "Lord, guide us in this hour of need, and let the spirits of the founders stand with us." The tension in the air is palpable, the silence broken only by the distant drip of water, a steady rhythm that seems to echo the beating of their hearts, as the two groups prepare for a battle that will determine the fate of the Liberty Medallion. Nathaniel, Eliza, and Amos facing Thorpe and his group, their hearts filled with hope, but also fear of the dangers ahead, and of the spirits of the Founder's judgment that Tala had warned them about. The mist in the cavern thickens, swirling around them like a living shroud, a reminder that the ancient magic of the Lenape and the spirit of the new nation are still watching, guiding them on their path. Deep within the cavern of the Founders, beneath the shimmering waters of the Shenandoah River in the lush expanse of the Shenandoah Valley, the air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and the faint, ethereal tang of ancient magic. The cavern's walls, carved with faded images of the Founding Fathers, Benjamin Franklin holding a kite amidst a storm, Thomas Jefferson drafting the Declaration of Independence, and George Washington standing resolute with a sword, glowed faintly with the bioluminescent moss that clung to the stone, casting a soft, otherworldly light that danced on the still, dark surface of the underground pool. The water was like a mirror, reflecting the moss's greenish glow in shimmering patterns, each ripple sending a cascade of light across the cavern, as if the pool itself were alive with the spirit of the Founders. The distant drip of water echoed through the chamber, a soft, rhythmic sound that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the ancient land, and the mist that hung in the air swirled gently, as if stirred by an unseen presence, its cool touch brushing against the faces of the three companions, Nathaniel Harper, Eliza, and Brother Amos, as they faced Captain Reginald Thorpe and his band of British spies. The tension in the cavern was palpable, the silence between the two groups stretching taut like a drawn bowstring, broken only by the steady drip of water and the faint rustling of the mist. Captain Reginald Thorpe stepped forward, his cold gray eyes glinting with malice, the lines of arrogance etched into his face twisting as he sneered. He was a tall, imposing figure, his redcoat uniform stained with the dirt of the journey, the brass buttons tarnished but still gleaming faintly in the moss's glow, a stark contrast to the muted greens and browns of the cavern. In his hand, he gripped a flintlock pistol, its barrel polished to a deadly sheen, the weapon a testament to his authority and his willingness to use it, the faint scent of gunpowder clinging to him like a shroud. His voice was a low growl, each word dripping with disdain. "Nathaniel Harper, you rebel scum, you think you can defy the might of the British Empire? I've tracked you all the way from Philadelphia for this medallion. Hand over the Liberty Medallion, or I'll send you to your grave." His words were laced with venom, his grip tightening on the pistol, his stance that of a predator ready to strike, his eyes narrowing as he calculated his next move. Behind him, his men, hardened British spies in tattered red coats, their faces, gaunt from the hardships of war, shifted restlessly, their own muskets raised, their eyes darting between Thorpe and the trio, waiting for the signal to attack. Nathaniel stood his ground, his brown cloak swaying slightly in the draft that swept through the cavern, his hammer still slung at his belt, a symbol of his craft and his resolve, its weight a comforting reminder of his purpose. His dark brown hair, tied back with a leather cord, gleamed faintly in the moss's glow, and his hazel eyes met Thorpe's with unwavering resolve, their color a mix of green and brown that seemed to reflect the forest above, a testament to his connection to the land. Though his heart pounded with the weight of the moment, his voice was steady, resonant with conviction, a fire burning in his chest that mirrored the passion of the revolution. "Thorpe, the Liberty Medallion does not belong to you or your king. It is a sacred relic of this new nation, forged by Franklin and Jefferson to protect our dream of freedom. I will not let you defile its purpose, even if it means facing death." Beside him, Eliza raised her musket, her finger resting lightly on the trigger, her hazel eyes narrowing as she aimed at Thorpe, her stance firm, her muscles taut with readiness, the faint scent of gunpowder clinging to her, a reminder of her skill as a sharpshooter. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the tension like a blade. "One wrong move, Redcoat, and you'll meet your maker before you can pull that trigger." Brother Amos, clutching his wooden staff topped with the carved image of a dove, stood on Nathaniel's other side, his gentle blue eyes filled with determination, his voice a soft prayer that cut through the tension. "Lord, guide us in this hour of need." and let the spirits of the founders stand with us." The air crackled with tension, the silence between the two groups stretching taut, broken only by the distant drip of water and the faint rustling of the mist. Then, with a snarl, Thorpe raised his pistol and fired, the crack of the shot echoing through the cavern like a thunderclap, the smell of gunpowder filling the air, acrid and sharp. Nathaniel dove to the side, the bullet grazing his arm, leaving a shallow cut that stung with a sharp, burning pain, blood welling up and staining his sleeve, the red a stark contrast to the indigo of his shirt. Eliza returned fire with her musket, the crack of her shot following Thorpe's, the bullet striking one of the spies in the shoulder, sending him reeling back with a cry of pain, his musket clattering to the stone floor. The remaining spies surged forward, their muskets raised, their shouts filling the cavern with a cacophony of violence, their red coats a blur of motion in the dim light that a fierce battle erupted in the shadowy confines of the cavern, the clash of steel against steel reverberating off the ancient walls, the sound mingling with the grunts and cries of the combatants, a chaotic symphony that echoed through the chamber. Eliza moved with the grace of a panther, her musket firing with deadly precision, each shot finding its mark as she felled one spy after another, her leather tunic allowing her to move swiftly, dodging the clumsy swings of a spy's bayonet. Her dagger flashing as she slashed at another attacker, her movements a blur of controlled fury. Brother Amos, though not a warrior, used his staff to defend himself, his movements slow but deliberate, his prayers to the Lord a steady chant that seemed to bolster the group's spirits, as if the divine was indeed watching over them. He struck a spy's leg with his staff, sending the man stumbling, and whispered, "Lord, shield us from evil and grant us strength." Nathaniel drew his own musket, the flintlock he kept slung over his shoulder, and fired at one of the spies, the shot striking the man in the thigh, sending him to the ground with a scream, clutching his wound as blood seeped through his fingers. Thorpe, his fury driving him forward despite the chaos, charged at Nathaniel with a roar, his sword drawn, the blade a deadly arc of steel in the dim light. Nathaniel dropped his musket, its barrel still smoking, and drew his hammer, the familiar weight of comfort in his hand as he parried Thorpe's strike, the steel of the sword clashing against the iron of the hammer with a sharp, ringing note. Sparks flying in the dim light. The two men fought with desperate intensity, their movements a dance of survival, each strike and parry a testament to their skill and determination. Thorpe's sword slashed at Nathaniel's chest, but he blocked the blow with his hammer, the impact jarring his arm, the pain in his wounded shoulder flaring with each movement. He gritted his teeth, ignoring the pain, and swung his hammer at Thorpe's side, the heavy iron head striking the captain's ribs with a dull thud, eliciting a grunt of pain as Thorpe staggered back, his sword arm faltering. Eliza, seeing Nathaniel in danger, reloaded her musket with practiced speed, her hands steady despite the chaos, and fired at Thorpe, the bullet grazing his arm, drawing a thin line of blood that stained his redcoat uniform, the bright red a stark contrast to the crimson of his blood. Thorpe roared in pain, his sword dropping from his hand as he clutched his wounded arm, his face contorted with rage and agony. Amos, seizing the moment, swung his staff at Thorpe's legs, striking him behind the knees with a forceful blow, sending him crashing to the ground with a cry, his body hitting the stone floor with a heavy thud, the sound echoing through the cavern like a drumbeat. With Thorpe momentarily downed, Nathaniel seized the opportunity to reach the pool, his heart pounding, the glow of the moss guiding his path, the mist swirling around him like a living shroud, its cool touch a stark contrast to the heat of battle. He knelt beside the pool, the water's surface still and dark, reflecting the faint light of the moss in a mirror-like sheen, its depths a mystery that whispered of ancient power. He whispered a prayer, his voice trembling with awe, his words carried on the mist. "O spirits of the founders, guardians of the Liberty Medallion, I am Nathaniel Harper, a patriot of this new nation. I seek the medallion to save my country from darkness. If my heart is pure, grant me this relic, and let me serve the cause of liberty." As he spoke, the water began to ripple, a soft glow emanating from its depths, and a spectral hand emerged from the pool, its fingers translucent and shimmering with a golden light, holding a bronze medallion that gleamed with an otherworldly radiance, the Liberty Medallion. Engraved with an eagle and 13 stars, its surface pulsing with the spirit of the founders, its power radiating like the sun itself. But before Nathaniel could grasp the medallion, Thorpe recovered, his fury driving him forward, blood dripping from his arm as he charged at Nathaniel with a feral snarl, a dagger now in his hand, its blade glinting with menace. "The medallion is mine." He lunged at Nathaniel, the dagger aiming for his heart, but Nathaniel rolled to the side, the blade grazing his side, leaving a shallow cut that stung with a sharp, burning pain, blood welling up and staining his shirt. Ignoring the injury, Nathaniel reached for the medallion, his fingers closing around the bronze disc, and as he did, a surge of energy coursed through him, a warmth that seemed to radiate from the medallion into his very soul, as if the spirits of Franklin, Jefferson, and Washington were speaking to him, lending him strength. The chorus of voices echoed through the cavern, a melodic whisper that seemed to come from the water itself. "Nathaniel Harper, patriot of the new nation, your heart is pure. Wield the Liberty Medallion with honor and protect this land from darkness. But beware, for its power will draw those who seek to claim it for their own." The spectral hand released the medallion, sinking back into the pool, the water rippling softly as the glow faded, leaving Nathaniel holding the legendary relic, its weight both heavy and comforting in his hand, the bronze cool against his skin, its surface warm with the energy of the founders. Thorpe, his fury driving him forward despite his wounds, let out a roar of rage and charged again, his dagger raised for a killing blow, his face a mask of desperation and hatred. But the medallion seemed to pulse with a will of its own, guiding Nathaniel's hand as he raised his hammer, the ancient relic's power surging through him, his strikes growing stronger, more precise, as if the founders themselves fought alongside him. He blocked Thorpe's dagger with the hammer, the steel clashing with the iron with a sound like thunder, sparks flying in the dim light, and drove the hammer into Thorpe's chest with a powerful blow, the impact sending the captain crashing to the ground, his dagger clattering away, his body hitting the stone floor with a heavy thud, the sound echoing through the cavern like a drumbeat. Thorpe gasped, his eyes wide with shock, and collapsed, his lifeblood pooling on the stone floor, his ambition extinguished at last. The remaining spies, seeing their leader fall, turned and fled into the shadows of the cavern, their footsteps echoing through the chamber until silence returned, broken only by the gentle lapping of the pool and the soft drip of water. Nathaniel, clutching the medallion, leaned against a stone pillar, his breathing ragged, the pain in his side and arm a constant throb, blood seeping through his shirt, staining the fabric a deep crimson. Eliza rushed to his side, her musket slung over her shoulder, her eyes filled with concern but also pride, her voice steady despite the adrenaline still coursing through her. "You did it, Nathaniel. The medallion is ours." Brother Amos knelt beside him, his hands gentle as he tore a strip of cloth from his coat, pressing it to the wounds to stem the bleeding, his voice a soft prayer. "Lord, protector of the righteous, let this patriot's light endure." The group left the cavern, the mist outside having lifted, the sky clearing to reveal a canopy of stars, their light a silent promise of hope, twinkling like tiny flames in the indigo expanse. They traveled north along the ancient trails, the journey back to Philadelphia fraught with challenges, British patrols in the forests, their red coats a stark contrast to the green and brown of the wilderness, forcing the group to move under cover of darkness, their steps silent on the forest floor. Swollen rivers from recent rains, their currents swift and treacherous, requiring the group to build makeshift rafts from fallen logs, their hands raw from the effort as they lashed the logs together with strips of leather and Nathaniel's worsening wounds, which slowed their pace, the pain a constant companion that tested his endurance, his face pale, but his resolve unshaken. Brother Amos used his knowledge of ancient remedies to treat Nathaniel, brewing teas from herbs they gathered along the way, willow bark for pain, yarrow to stop bleeding, their bitter taste a small price to pay for relief, while Eliza scouted. Ahead, her sharp eyes ensuring their safety, her musket at the ready to fend off any threats. Throughout the journey, Nathaniel felt the power of the Liberty Medallion, its bronze surface glowing faintly with an otherworldly light, a constant reminder of the founder's presence. He often stopped at night, when the stars lit the sky, placing the medallion on a flat stone, its glow illuminating the heavens, highlighting constellations like the Great Bear and the Hunter, their patterns a map that guided them north. He felt the medallion's energy, as if Franklin, Jefferson, and Washington were speaking to him through its light, their voices a chorus of encouragement that bolstered his spirit, urging him to press on despite the pain and exhaustion. One night, as they camped beside a small stream, the moonlight reflecting on the water like a silver ribbon, Nathaniel had another dream. In the dream, he stood in the assembly room of Independence Hall, the Liberty Medallion glowing in his hand, and a great darkness swept over the land. British forces closing in on Philadelphia, but the medallion's light drove back the shadows, uniting the colonies in a surge of courage and determination, bringing peace to the new nation. Tala appeared before him, her smile as radiant as the moon, and said, "Nathaniel, you have fulfilled your mission. The medallion will save this nation, but you must protect it, for darkness will always seek to claim the light." Nathaniel awoke, his heart filled with hope, the pain in his wounds a distant ache as the medallion's warmth soothed him, and shared the dream with Eliza and Amos, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. "The spirits have confirmed we're on the right path. The medallion will save the colonies from British tyranny." Eliza nodded, her hazel eyes filled with trust, her voice firm. "We must hurry back to Philadelphia, Nathaniel. The army needs this hope." Amos smiled, his blue eyes crinkling with warmth, his voice a soft prayer. "I believe in you, Nathaniel. The Lord and the spirits are with us." After many weeks of travel, weeks that stretch into a month, each day a test of their endurance, the group finally returned to Philadelphia, arriving just before the first frost of winter coated the ground. In a thin layer of ice, the air crisp and cold, their breaths visible in the chill morning light. The city was in a state of unrest, whispers of British advances spreading through the streets, the first signs of panic stirring in the shadows. As loyalist spies spread fear among the populace, Nathaniel, Eliza, and Amos went straight to Independence Hall, where Colonel William Ashford awaited them, the assembly room filled with delegates and militiamen, their faces pale with worry, their murmurs a soft hum that rose to the rafters. A mix of hope and fear as they awaited news from the front. Nathaniel knelt before Ashford, presenting the Liberty Medallion, its bronze surface glowing with an otherworldly light, driving back the shadows of fear that had settled over the room. The medallion's glow illuminated the assembly room, casting a golden light on the wooden walls, the carved eagles and stars seeming to come alive in its radiance, a sign of the founder's favor. Ashford took the medallion, placing it on the table, and a great light filled the hall, a wave of warmth and courage washing over the gathered men, their faces lighting up with renewed hope, their voices rising in a cheer that echoed through the hall, a rallying cry for the cause of liberty. The unrest subsided, the British advance halted by a surge of unity and determination among the colonies, and the people of Philadelphia sang songs of praise to the founders, honoring Nathaniel as a hero, their voices a chorus of gratitude that carried through the streets, a testament to the power of the medallion and the spirit of the revolution. But Nathaniel knew the medallion's power could attract others with greedy hearts, loyalists and spies who would seek to claim it for their own gain, to destroy the fragile hope of the new nation. He advised Ashford to hide it in a secret chamber, beneath Independence Hall, known only to the most trusted patriots, a place where it could be protected until the war was won. Ashford agreed, and the medallion was placed in a wooden box, sealed with a prayer to the Christian God and the spirits of the founders, and hidden deep beneath the hall, its glow a silent guardian over the city, a beacon of hope in the darkest days of the war. Nathaniel carved a stone tablet recounting his journey, hoping that one day, those worthy would find the medallion and understand its purpose. The tablet read, I, Nathaniel Harper, blacksmith of Philadelphia, have fulfilled the will of the founders. The Liberty Medallion is the light of our nation, but also the burden of those who protect it. Only those with a pure heart can wield its power, and only the spirits can keep it safe. The Liberty Medallion continued its journey through the centuries. After the Revolutionary War ended in 1783, a member of the Continental Congress, fearing the medallion would be lost to time, took it to a hidden cave in the Blue Ridge Mountains, concealing it in a niche sealed with wax, hoping it would remain safe. Over the centuries, the medallion was forgotten, its legend fading into obscurity, but whispers of its power lived on in American folklore, told in taverns and written in obscure journals, a tale of a blacksmith who saved the young nation with a relic of the founders, thousands of years later. On May 20th, 2025, a team of archaeologists led by Dr. Rebecca Sullivan, an American historian, arrived at Independence Hall to explore newly discovered ruins beneath the historic site. Rebecca was a tall, slender woman with long blonde hair tied in a neat ponytail, her bright green eyes filled with passion for history, their color a vibrant contrast to the muted tones of her khaki jacket. She wore a white blouse and a wide-brimmed hat to shield her from the sun, her notebook always in hand, filled with sketches and notes of her findings, her handwriting a neat cursive that spoke of her meticulous nature. Her team included archaeologists from around the world, all eager to uncover the secrets of the American Revolution, their voices a mix of excitement and curiosity as they set up their equipment, the hum of their instruments a soft backdrop to the quiet reverence of the site. In a hidden chamber beneath Independence Hall, Rebecca's team found Nathaniel's stone tablet, its surface weathered by centuries, but the script still legible, recounting the story of the Liberty Medallion. The tablet was a rectangular slab of slate, its edges chipped, but its surface intact, the words carved in a careful hand, each letter a testament to Nathaniel's determination to preserve the tale for future generations. Though they didn't find the medallion itself, they discovered a mural on the chamber wall, depicting Nathaniel standing in the assembly room, the Liberty Medallion glowing in his hand, a storm breaking overhead, but the light driving back the darkness, illuminating the faces of the founding fathers, Franklin, Jefferson, Washington, who stood behind him, their expressions a mix of pride and resolve. The mural was painted with natural pigments, red from ochre, blue from indigo, and gold from saffron, and despite centuries, the colors remained vivid, as if painted mere days ago, the eagle and 13 stars on the medallion glowing with a life of their own, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Revolution. Rebecca, reading the tablet, felt a deep connection to Nathaniel, as if his spirit lingered in the chamber, his presence a quiet whisper in the air, urging her to tell his story. She sat beside the tablet, her flashlight illuminating the ancient script, its beam casting a soft glow on the words, and whispered, Nathaniel, you fulfilled your mission. Your story will be told, and we will preserve your legacy. Her voice was soft, reverent, a promise to honor the past, to ensure that the sacrifices of the Revolution would not be forgotten. She decided not to search for the medallion, fearing the spirits of the founders might still protect it, their judgment a force she did not wish to challenge, and instead focused on documenting and preserving Nathaniel's story, ensuring the world would know of the courage and wisdom of the early Americans, their dream of liberty a beacon that still shone brightly in the modern age. The story ends in a small town near Philadelphia. On a moonlit night, May 20th, 2025, the townsfolk gathered around a fire in the town square, the flames illuminating their faces, the air filled with the scent of burning pine and the sound of children's laughter, their voices a joyful melody that echoed through the night. An elderly woman named Margaret Harper, a descendant of Nathaniel's family, her white hair glowing in the firelight, her wise eyes reflecting the flames, told the children the legend of Nathaniel's ghost. She was a direct descendant of Abigail, Nathaniel's sister, her family having preserved the oral history through generations, each telling a testament to their ancestors' bravery. Margaret's voice was soft but clear, carrying the weight of history. On moonlit nights, if you stand near Independence Hall, you might hear a blacksmith's hammer striking iron, a prayer for liberty carried on the wind, and see the silhouette of a young man in a brown cloak, standing under the moonlight, guarding an eternal secret. The children, their eyes wide with wonder, listened to Margaret's tale, their hearts racing with curiosity and excitement, the firelight casting dancing shadows on their faces. A boy with curly brown hair and a bright smile, named James, took his sister's hand, a girl with wide, curious eyes named Sarah, and whispered, "Sarah, it's a full moon tonight. Let's go to Independence Hall and see if Nathaniel's ghost is real." Sarah nodded, her eyes sparkling with excitement, her small hand gripping her brother's tightly, and the siblings held hands, stepping out into the silvery moonlight, their coats bundled against the spring chill. The town was quiet, with only the sound of crickets and rustling leaves in the breeze. As they walked to the historic site, their small figures dwarfed by the ancient brick building, its red facade softened by the moonlight. They stood near the steps, the cool night breeze ruffling their hair, the full moon casting a glow on the brick, making it shimmer like silver. They listened for Nathaniel's hammer, hoping to see his silhouette, but there was only the moonlight and the wind, a gentle lullaby echoing through the night, the sound of the city a distant hum, a reminder of the world beyond. Though they saw no ghost, they smiled, feeling the magic of the story in the air, as if Nathaniel was still there, watching over them from the other side, his spirit a guardian of the liberty he fought for. They held hands, returning home, and as they drifted into sleep, their dreams were filled with images of patriots, ancient relics, and a nation that endured through the ages. As the sun sets over colonial America, casting a golden glow across the Schuylkill River, Nathaniel stands on the steps of Independence Hall, his hand touching a cool brick wall, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the sun god sinks into slumber, the sky a canvas of crimson and gold, a promise of a new day. The sound of the river's gentle lapping fills the air, a soothing lullaby echoing through the land, while stars begin to twinkle in the night sky, their light reflecting on the water like scattered jewels, a testament to the enduring hope of the Revolution. Whether the Liberty Medallion truly exists or is merely a legend, Nathaniel's story reminds us of the power of courage and the connection to the ideals of freedom. Let the sound of flowing water, the city breeze, and the gentle light of colonial America lull you into sleep. Dream of a hall where liberty was born, where spirits whisper secrets, and a man named Nathaniel leaves an enduring legacy. Wishing you a peaceful night, with dreams of patriots, ancient relics, and a medallion that forever shines with the light of liberty.